Detecting QR codes in different kind of situations puts different requirements on a QR code scanner. And in this video, we're going to take a look at the access control use case, typically used in AXIS door stations. And we're going to compare our application a little bit to the AXIS Barcode Reader application that you can get from AXIS and see when one and the other make sense. So the setup that we are going to use for our QR code reader in this case is with a 1:1 aspect ratio detection zone, meaning that we will not spend extra compute looking at the sides of the image, because it doesn't really make sense to detect QR codes out here in this area. And this is really one of the benefits with the FixedIT QR Code Decoder, that it's very flexible. It's essentially built to be a modular base that you can use for all kinds of different use cases, everything from access control to automation. And with this particular configuration, we get a very comparable setup to how the AXIS QR code reader is working. And if we look at detection distance in this setup, we can see that we get roughly 6 to 40 centimeter detection distance for both the AXIS Barcode Reader and the FixedIT QR Code Decoder. And we can also look at the frame rate or the number of events per second, the number of codes per second that we can scan with it. While the AXIS one is locked to 3 frames per second, we can see a benchmarking of that, how that looks here. So we can see that we have an average frame rate of about 3 frames per second. What we can also see here is that it's a bit of variance in the frame rate, and we can see that we have some gaps where we get significantly lower detection rates. And we can also see that on this cumulative graph, which is roughly a straight line, but not a perfect straight line. And then we can look at the FixedIT QR Code Decoder, where we can see that we also have a bit of fluctuations in the frame rate, but they are much smaller, ranging essentially between 4.5 and 4.8, with an average of 4.65 frames per second. And we can see both in these graphs, the number of events per second, and in this cumulative one, that the frame rate is very stable of this application. So again, if we look at the frame rate here between 4.5 and 4.8, here we have everything from 1 to 3, but we can see that it's limited at 3 frames per second, with the exception from a few spikes. So this is essentially meaning that the FixedIT QR Code Decoder gives you roughly 50% faster detection at a comparable rate. The benefit with the AXIS Barcode Reader is, of course, that it's tailored specifically for access control in door stations. So it has quite good integrations out of the box with AXIS own access control systems. And nowadays it's also supplied for free with some of the AXIS devices. But for a more flexible alternative where you can decide how the scanning area should look like, and you can also set other logic for when and how it should analyze the frames to do trade-offs between, for example, frame rate and latency and detection range. For those use cases, the FixedIT QR Code Decoder is an excellent choice.